This was the hill where construction of the road stopped when we were here in January 2016 on the first ever high-profile visit to the project site in the last 6 years by an FCT minister. The contractor who was on site to receive the minister made everyone believe that bringing down this particular hill was the only thing left to get the job done if he was paid what was outstanding on the work he had done.
What is a challenge to us if we don't get paid on time to get the project to progress to the level that we want to progress? So we'll appeal that the minister uses his powers to get us paid as at when, and if possible, to do variation on the project.
If you sit down with your engineers and you decide you want to do this project, we are going to give you payment. But quite frankly, the figures I've seen for 13-kilometer road, may God forgive all of us.
We are told payment has been made, and when we independently visited the project site at least 3 times after about 6 months of the inspection by the FCT Minister Mohammed Bello, the hill had been brought down, but only a few more kilometers have been constructed with no staff of the constructing firm on site.
Work is going from both ends of the road, from Karshi end towards Apo, and from Wasa end, from Apo end towards Karshi.
The road has again been abandoned at another point, making it suspicious, so we also abandoned our car and made the rest of the journey on foot. A valley and yet another hill stood before us amidst this vast vegetation. A bush path was in sight and we followed it to negotiate the hill. It was very exhausting as the villagers we came across, even on their motorcycles, had to also drop their passengers along the road to be able to make it through some of the very difficult terrains along the bush path. And having negotiated to the other side of the hill, this is what we saw. A very old and perhaps poorly executed attempt at pulling down the hill to make a path, but obviously showing also that there is so much work that needs to be done. This was also how far we could go from the upper end of the road after the tortuous trek, but I was lucky to get a lift on a motorcycle. This reduced the distance of my return to where we had abandoned our car, but our good friend and others who every now and then still manage to make their way with their families through the bush path are still holding on to some hope that the project will one day see the light of day.
I have stayed in this area going back to 1994, when this road has nothing Samsam. So when the road started, there is a lot of hope. As the road is like this, we don't know what to say. It's bad.
From here, there's no great and rich guys.
No, they're not rich. From that place, when they park tipper to go that side, where.
On the upper end of the road is this project signboard, which indicates that the client is the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA. But its officials insist that the agency is only playing a supervisory role on the project.
It was not quite long when the Satellite Development Department was transferred to the FCDA, at least for the supervision of their projects.
Construction of the Apo-Karshi-Ara Road is in 2 phases. This is the 25.60 kilometer Karshi-Ara section, which has now been abandoned, and the 13.25 kilometer Apo-Karshi section of the road. At the 13.25 kilometer section of the road, which only about 9.8 kilometers have been constructed, the most disturbing issue is that an additional 5 kilometers from Takwashara Junction to Apo has not even been awarded for construction.
When you reach Wasa Junction, the end of the project, there is another 4.2 kilometer road along the Ossex that has not been taken care of. FCDA is considering awarding it now.
Driving from Apo to the Takwashara Junction one can see a number of mass housing projects that should, on completion, accommodate thousands of families abandoned for the obvious and simple reason that there is no road to the area. The completion of the road project is therefore not just about transportation, but housing and many more that can address a number of the development challenges facing the nation's capital. Tyav, AIT News, Abuja.